This crusty no-knead bread is beautiful bread to make. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's only a few ingredients in it, and when you have it baked, you've got a beautiful, chewy, fluffy, textured bread. It's fantastic. Give it a go. Okay, so to make our crusty white bread, it's best to use strong white flour, and that's what I have in this bowl. You can use plain or all-purpose, but the texture of the bread will be a little bit different. With the strong white flour, you'll get a fluffy and chewy texture, and the bread will keep that a little bit longer as well. So in here, I've got my strong white flour, and I'm going to add my fast action yeast. Just pop that to one side. And I'm also going to add some salt. And it's important not to put your salt on your yeast. So I'm going to put it this side. I'm going to mix this together now. Just give it a good mix in like that. I'm happy with that. Now for the water. This water is warm. It's warm from the tap. I've used tap water. You don't want the water boiling or anything, but it's important that the water is warm. So pour that in, pour it all in. Unlike other breads, I'd normally add a little bit of water at a time, but for this particular bread, I want this nice and sloppy. So mix that. We want this mixture to be wet and sloppy, but we don't want it runny like a cake batter. We're not going to be kneading this, so we're just going to leave it in the bowl. And that's looking good. That's the kind of consistency we want. That's wet and it's also sloppy too. So what we're going to do with this now is we're going to cover it with some cling wrap. This is ready for proofing now, and I'm going to proof it for 2 to 3 hours. Proofing just means we want the dough to double in size, and it's important that you place it somewhere warm. My kitchen here is perfect today, it's nice and warm, so I'm going to leave it here. Another great place I like to use is a sunny window or my hot press or airing cupboard. They're great places too. So we'll see you shortly. This is doubled in size. It's been about an hour and a half, and you can see that it's lovely and bubbly and it's jiggly like jelly. That's the way it should be. Now I'm going to leave the cling film on it for about half an hour because I need to heat my dish in the oven that I'm baking my bread in for about half an hour. So we're going to put that over there for a minute, and I'm going to show you what I'm baking my bread in. Now, a Dutch oven is recommended to bake this bread, but I don't have one. But I do have my mum's Le Creuset roasting dish, and this is perfect. Once you use a heavy dish with a lid, it should be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this into the oven for half an hour with the lid on it, and after that we're going to make our bread and get it into the oven. So let's do that now. Time to get this bread together. Now usually when you're making this bread, you'd flour your worktop and put your dough out on top of it and then just bring it together. But I find it's very sticky. Then you have to try and get it onto your greaseproof paper and pop it into your dish that you're baking it in. So what I'm going to do is just take your greaseproof paper and sprinkle it with some flour. This is strong white flour I'm using. That should do it. Now get your dough and take the cling wrap off. And you can see how jiggly that is, like jelly, as I said, and it smells very yeasty. That's how I want it. Get this out onto my floured greaseproof paper, and look how sticky that is. So get it out on top of that. So I'm just going to get a bit of flour, and if you've got a dough scraper, I use a spatula. We're just going to try and get this into a round shape. So something like that. Just bring it up like that. It doesn't have to be perfectly round. So I'm going to set this to one side for a minute. And now I'm going to get my roasting dish. Take the lid off. You can see how hot that is. And now I'm going to get my bread and sit it into it. And get the lid on. This is ready for the oven and it's just going to take 30 minutes to bake. So I'm going to bake it for 30 minutes with the lid on. Then I'm going to take the lid off and bake it for a further 12 minutes. And all the temperatures will follow. Let's get it into the oven. Well everyone, it's fully baked, just look at it. My no-knead crusty bread, and I'm telling you, it is surely crusty. It's a beautiful golden colour, smells amazing, and wait till you hear this. And it's got a lovely rustic look. That's what I love about homemade bread. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it tastes really well, and this is going to taste fabulous, I know it. All right everyone, so I'm going to leave this to cool for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's still cooking on the inside, even though it's out of the oven. So just leave it for about half an hour before you slice into it. I know you'll be dying to cut into this and put lots of butter on it, but it's best to leave it for about half an hour before we cut it. The bread is cooled down enough now, and I know you're all dying to see what the inside of this no-knead crusty bread looks like. Just to mention, this bread is very cheap to make. A bag of flour and a packet of fast action yeast is about €4, and you'll get a good few of these out of that. So go out tomorrow and get yourself some strong white flour and some fast action yeast and try out this bread. It's absolutely delicious. I made one yesterday and my kids ate it all. So I had to make another one of these today so I could finish my video. So let's cut into this now. So for this bread, you need a good sharp knife to cut this bread because we've got a crusty top and a crusty bottom. My husband just sharpened this knife so I don't have any problems cutting the bread. So let's see how we get on. And we've got one slice cut. Look at that. How nice does that look? A lovely colour. It's lovely and fresh. It's risen well. And all those holes in it means it's a really good bread, and I bet it tastes delicious. Just listen to that crunch. See, I told you how hard the crust was to cut. So let's get some butter and jam on this bread. This bread will stay fresh for a couple of days, and when it gets that little bit harder, just pop it in the toaster. It's really nice too. Delicious. Give it a go, you will love it. That is so good. And that's how easy it is to make this beautiful no-knead crusty bread. It's absolutely gorgeous. Give it a go, there's not many ingredients in it and it's so easy to make. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've got lots more bread recipes on my channel. I've got a really nice fruit soda bread there, as well as just traditional Irish soda bread, some treacle bread, and lots of brown bread and Guinness brown bread recipes. So check them out and comment below and let me know if there's anything else you would like me to bake. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and see you all soon. Happy baking everyone, and enjoy.